everybody. This is Sinead here, and I am here with Desiree. So Desiree is my featured guest this week, and as you know, this YouTube channel and this Instagram page is all about rebuilding healthy homes. So it's a place for minorities and colored women and colored men, colored families to come and just talk about healing, talk about what's working for you and some ways that we can help each other progress as a community, regain our independence, our empowerment, and just be the best version of ourselves. So thank you so much, Desiree, for coming on. And I had so many questions for you, but first, tell us what country you're repping.
Jamaica. I'm a Jamaican. Well, I have a lot of things, but Jamaica would be the one that I would represent.
Where in Jamaica?
Kingston.
Big up Kingston, Jamaica.
Hey, my Jamaicans, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Desiree. Tell us.
So my name is Desiree. I am a mom of two. I'm also a wife as well. I got married a year ago.
What? You go.
Yeah. So I'm kind of sad because I had to spend my 1 year anniversary marriage in quarantine, but it's okay.
It's been fun.
Anyways,
Just to turn up a little bit. Wait until you guys find out what she has. You'll see why it's fun for her.
Yeah, so I have my own business as we're here to showcase. My business name, I should say, is Her Garden, and I'm a V-Steam facilitator, and I also sell products on the side, such as body washes, body butters, and just natural products like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I help women with everyday problems that they have, such as fibroids, infertility challenges, menstrual cramps, bacterial vaginosis, yeast infections, just everyday problems that we have. I help assist people with their symptoms and getting rid of them.
Okay, so guys, don't leave yet for the fellas out there, because this may benefit you in some way. You can patch this info onto your girls. But tell everyone out there what a vaginal steam is, because a lot of people always hit me. I tell them, hit up Desiree. She has the best vaginal steams. And they're like, what? What is that? They're kind of weirded out. So give them a full walkthrough of what that looks like.
So a vaginal steam is when a woman would sit over herbs and water, and they would steam for about 20 to 60 minutes. It depends on the woman, but they would steam and have the herbs come into their body and help naturally flush out any toxins that are in our wombs and release them out, so that you can just have fresh oxygenated blood running through your wombs at all times, and that there's just less toxins, which creates all these issues that we have.
So you're sitting on a chair, kind of,
Yeah.
or a pod or something like that, right?
So, yes, so I have a chair set up, and then I'll have a bowl inside the chair, and I'll pour the herbs and water inside the chair, and then a woman would just sit over with her blanket. Some women like to come in their robes, their dresses, their skirts, or however you want to stay warm, and they would just sit. That's it. For about, like I said, about an hour, and it's very private and discreet, so I don't see any type of vaginas while we're doing it.
We all have the same ones, so I'm
But some women are private, which I understand, because I'm private about my parts too. It's just my little garden. So yeah, so it's very private and discreet, and it's not hot enough to burn. I've never burned anybody. It's just a nice releasing process.
Okay, so that's really exciting. So that's the physical part of it. Now, the internal part of it is also very healing. So a little bit of background for those interested in chakras and understanding what the chakra entails. That vaginal steam covers the two primary chakras, so the root chakra and the sacral chakra. So if you're imbalanced in your root chakra, which is the color red, or your sacral chakra, orange, you can feel like you're not safe. You can feel like there's imbalances in your relationship. You can feel like your money is not right. You're not stable in your finances. You may also have like job insecurities or job instability. And specifically your sacral chakra, which this targets, is your relationships, right? Your love life, like the way you have intimacy with your partner. So tell us a little bit about what the guys have to say about this vaginal steam.
Most guys, there's a handful of husbands and boyfriends and significant others that send their women back because, like you said, internally, as women, we get our nails done every month, get our hair done, our lashes done, our pedicures, but we tend to forget about our insides, which is the most important part. And why I started this was because it's such a taboo topic, but it's something that's so important to every woman because as much as you say, yeah, we all have one, but no one can sit there and say that they have the same one as you because it's so unique to us. And we need to take care of it inside and out. So with men, they find that for their women. It gets rid of odor and it helps with sensitivity and lubrication, and it just makes the sexual experience a lot better for them. I find so they always tend to send their women back because it's a good time for both parties. I mean, what woman wouldn't want a more lubricated, sensitive vagina while they're having sex? But yeah, for men, they find huge differences with that as well, and it even tightens the vaginal walls as well. So it's good for men. They send their women back. So I don't have a problem with you men sending your women.
We'll add her on Facebook and Instagram. We'll drop her pin below so that you guys can see where she's at. Now, Desiree, I know that you're in Toronto. You're based out of the GTA, Peel, Halton, York, all over Ontario. But for women out there watching this video who are in, let's say, Trinidad or Jamaica, and who have interest in purchasing a good steam, but don't understand where to purchase it or have a good, reputable source to purchase it from. Do you offer those products?
I do. I offer her packets. So even for women in the GTA as well, if they don't feel comfortable having someone watch them sit over a steam uh, during a V steam, which I understand, they buy her packets from me. Most people hit me in my DM on Instagram most times and
That's how
order
we
through
met each other.
that's how we met each other.
Yeah.
Yes. So most people, that's the best way to probably order through me is through my DM. My website will be back up at the end of May as well, so we could go there as well.
Well, we'll post her website down below for those
Yeah.
who are interested. Yeah.
And but yeah, for international, women have hit me from St. Lucia, Jamaica, things like that. So I do ship international as well. So all you would have to do is just let me know what you're trying to target, what the issues is, and I will target each her packet to your needs so that you're just not buying just all these her different her packets. You're getting your bang for your buck.
Exactly. So as we know, which you've explained to me, is sex is an energy exchange, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes there can be dead bodies in your body somehow, like how you've
It's
explained it
all,
to
yeah.
me. So sometimes it necessarily, if you're, you think you're young and popping and you don't really need this, you feel like you're fine. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But if you are in these streets and you're doing your thing, sometimes you need to clean yourself out a little bit and take out that energy that's stored inside of you. And sometimes it takes more than one steep, right?
Yep. So I find a lot of women, especially when they go through breakups, they tend to come to me because they find that after the steam, and I can use different herbs as well just to kind of get that balance back, and they feel kind of flushed. Some women just feel different, like they just feel cleaner and they just feel like they just reset their vagina from that curse of a relationship. So so yeah, it's definitely good for that as well. It has so much benefits to it that it's crazy,
Because
and
sometimes, man, that curse.
that curse needs to just,
Yeah.
you gotta steam it away.
Send that curse back to Mark. So
Send that curse back.
replace it. So yeah, that's a really good thing that you're offering, because I remember you telling me one story, which I was like, man, I didn't even think this was possible. You said to me the doctors had written off one of your clients and said
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
person cannot have a child. And literally, they did 5 months of consistent steaming with you. And I mean, like, you're not God or anything, but you were able to give them the procedure of healing their body, and they got pregnant.
Yeah. So it was crazy, and it was my first story to happen like that. So it was kind of crazy to have that experience. But yeah, she went to the doctors, and her tubes were blocked. She didn't know, the doctors told her that she couldn't have kids, and she was down in the dumps about it. She got really depressed about it, and a friend of hers who I know actually told her about me. She did her research on it, and then she gave it a shot, and she 5 months later got pregnant with her daughter, and yeah,
What is
it
a
was
daughter
amazing.
now?
That was about 2 years ago, so she's two now. And she,
Wow, look at God, right? That's
yeah, and she
amazing.
invited me to the baby shower, like all types of things. It was so sweet. Like I get invited to all types of baby showers and things like that. So it's like, it's interesting, and that's what's so amazing with what I do, because I meet so much amazing women, and we're able to start connecting on a different level. And I kind of, my purpose when I do these steams is for women to have an experience, and a comfortable experience, and a memorable experience, and something that they can always remember and get something out of it. And that's where, I don't know, I'm a mom, and I'm a woman too, and I understand and I get it. And I want people to feel comfortable talking about their issues, where if I, let's say, have a yeast infection and nothing I'm doing is working, that you could pick up the phone and call your girlfriend and be like, hey, this is my issue and I just can't seem to shake it. Like, do you ever have these issues? Instead of a woman now feeling judged for calling, her friend, that people just can have open conversations. So,
Yeah, yeah. So I'm happy that you brought that up because I was going to pivot over to that area. So this channel is all about rebuilding healthy homes. And so the thing is that is a big problem within our community, especially our colored community.
yeah.
Doesn't matter what color you are, whether you're black or you're brown or you're, you know, orange, it doesn't matter. I find that there is so much stigma around women. And instead of building each other up, when you call your girl and you say, hey, I have this, it's, oh, how? Oh, that dirty dog that you're with, or
Yeah.
something negative. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I think to myself, with your products and what you're doing, the purpose driven behind it is to rebuild women,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's to help rebuild women, rebuild their confidence,
Yeah.
and take away all that bad energy that is within them to help them be and perform at their optimal level.
Absolutely. I believe that we were trained from younger, and whether it's a Caribbean thing, whether it's not a Caribbean thing, I just feel from when we were young, we were taught to not talk about our vagina, our vulva, whatever, like,
Our
we're just,
sexuality.
our sexuality, sex. Even when I was growing up, my mom never gave me the talks with, like, about my period or sex. I don't know, we just never really had that, like, that communication growing up. So I want women to be able to talk to their daughters about vagina issues, vulva issues, whatever we have going on, so that you can open up that communication and not make it so taboo, because it's so important. And so much women I talk to, and I've talked to over 300 women, and half of the women have the same issues. And it's like,
Wow.
if we were able just to talk to one another about the same issues that we have without judging that person, maybe we could solve each other's issues just naturally. And I remember the first time I ever spoke at an event, it was about a group of 50 women. And I remember in the beginning, everyone was kind of quiet, and it was like, oh my gosh, it's the vagina girl. Let's see what she has to say. And it's just like, I started talking, I started explaining, what I do, the benefits, how I've helped women, reviews, and things like that. And I'll never forget when I brought up yeast infections, and women were just like tuned in now, because so much women in the room were having yeast infections. And by the end of the conversation, I remember looking into the room and seeing everybody talking amongst one another, and seeing so much women
What an
saying, oh,
icebreaker.
and it was so amazing to see, because this is what I love to see. I love to see women breaking that, stigma that we can't talk about it, and turning to their neighbor that they don't even know from who knows where, and saying, yeah, this is what I did, or you should try doing this instead. So it was nice to see, and I love it. Yeah.
So, not to toot my own horn, but I have told probably about 30 women of the
Hmm.
300 you probably talked to about, and this is me knowing Desiree for about a year, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about a year
well,
ago.
yeah. Yeah, so within a year, I've just told 30 women, and then immediately, like as soon as I meet a woman and I catch her vibe, or there's something about her, I'm like, yo, she needs to clean her nanny. I I will. The first thing I'll say is, "Did you chakra balance?" And they'll say, "Well, I don't know what that is." I'm like, "Okay, forget it. Have you ever done a vaginal steam?" And they're like,
Girl, that.
"Yeah, like the chakra balancing is so above them." So I'm like, "Have you ever done a vaginal steam?" And they're like, "No, what is that?" I don't want to talk about it. And then I'll say, and again, guys, like I have no incentive toward referring. Like she doesn't give me a referral fee, nothing. Like it's just off the sole fact that I know the way that a vaginal steam works. And I feel like all women should have this in their life. So when I tell women, have you done a vaginal steam? They're like, no, I don't know what that is. And women who have done it have hit you up privately that I know of, have hit you up privately, went and did it, and they're like, they will call me and say, I'm doing this every single month. It's changed my life. It does, it does. So my experience of it was like definitely I went with Desiree. And so she came over and it was just such a chill vibe. And without going into too much of the process, because she'll be able to give you the process of how she expects you to do the vaginal steam. If you're doing it remotely, if you're doing it with her, she'll go through her process. But we definitely sat down, we kicked it, we had a good conversation. And through that, it definitely felt like a healing session. Now, there is a book, which of course she's encouraged me to read, Sacred Woman. And so a lot of women think that vaginal steaming, when they Google it, they think it's a Vietnamese ancient practice. And while I'm sure it is, it's actually um, derived from like Indian and African practices. So this is an ancient tradition for our melanin women, right? And that is something that I wish you could just talk to us a little bit more about.
Yeah, so I found with V-steaming, it was very hard at first to find a lot of information when I began it. But when I did read it has been around for a long time where women sometimes do it in the dirt. They'll just dig a hole in the dirt, stick those herbs in it, pour some water, and just squat over
So
it.
now that you say that, that is makes sense because it's
It
Mother
makes sense, right? So it's been around for a long time, and I find with my experience doing it, melanated women are just yeah, melanated women have the most benefit from it. But I've helped all kinds,
Yeah, yeah.
all
When
races,
this channel is
but
not to discriminate anyone, if you need a vaginal
yeah,
steam, you need it, you should do it. But
anybody can do it. It doesn't matter.
everyone should do it. I think everyone should do it. Okay, but we're speaking specifically about the colored woman experience.
Yeah, I found that a lot of melanated women, it works right away for them. They've had awesome experiences. I find that it helps connect them back to themselves, and it gives you kind of like a pep in your step, kind of, where it's a feeling that's hard to describe unless you've V-steamed. And I explained that to women before, and when they're finished steaming, they say to me, I understand what you're talking about.
You
Because
feel like
it's
you're popping.
yeah, like you feel extra clean. Like some women have described it as they feel cleaner than a shower, kinda. I don't know how to describe it
You light
unless you
your
do it.
sage or your incense. You do your
Yeah,
meditation. You just zen
absolutely.
out and you just purge all that garbage out. And so two things that I want to touch on before we wrap is there is a myth circulating that this impacts your pH balance. Does it?
So it's really hard with V-steaming because the Western doctor world doesn't recognize it because they feel like there's not enough research behind it. Although if you do research how much women it has helped, it's helped hundreds of women. And I've met even women that haven't steamed through me, but they're a lot older, that said they have been doing this from their parents have told them to do it, having especially after kids. They say that you should do it because it helps get you back to your state before you were pregnant. So I found that If your pH balance is off and you're having issues, your pH balance is already off. I can't further throw off your pH balance. Like if you're having, let's say, a vaginal odor, and it's not to say that vaginal odor where the stigma behind it is if you have a smelly vagina, then you're not showering, which is not true because anything can cause your vagina pH balance to go off. So it could be the soap that you're using, maybe the tights that you're wearing. Like it could be anything that throws your pH balance off. So with bee steaming, with the herbs that I use, it actually helps throw your pH balance back into the state that it's supposed to be. And with every woman, it's different. So with bee steaming, it naturally helps you get back to your correct state. So every woman that I have that came to me for, let's say, vaginal odor, by the time they've gotten off the steamer, there is not even an odor there anymore. So it's yeah, it doesn't.
What about women who are pregnant? Is it safe for women who are pregnant?
No. Um, it works the same way with why pregnant women can't go into, let's say, saunas or things like that. If you do steam and you are pregnant, the steam can actually thin your cervix, which can cause you to go into early labor. I've had women, though, that have messaged me and they're past their due date wanting to know if they could steam to thin their cervix, but I still don't do it because I don't feel safe doing that because, yeah, I don't want anything to happen to your child. So no, I say after pregnancy, af- after you bleed the 4 to 6 weeks, after you go 48 hours without bleeding, then you could start bee steaming.
Got it. And so if you haven't had your period or your period is very irregular, you suggest that do vaginal steaming.
Yep. So for me, since I was in high school, I've always had irregular periods. And since I've started incorporating bee steaming in my time in my life. Before I was doing it once a week because I really wanted my period to be regular because having a period like twice a year, yes, it's great to have a period twice a year, but when my period came, it really came and hit me. So it wasn't fun
And
to
then you
have.
don't know when it's coming. So you could be at a fete somewhere with some white shorts and then boom,
And boom, my period's there. Like it sucks. So
heart attack.
steaming, it helped regulate my period. You just have to do it consistently. I'd say do it twice a month until your period starts picking up. But as you continuously do your steaming, all my regular ladies have periods that are about 2 to 3 days and they're very light. They just don't really have a lot of toxins left for it to release. So yeah, if you're
Well,
interested in
thank
that.
you for that. Now, if you are trying to get pregnant, you should do this.
It's you can incorporate it to help push along your pregnancy with V steaming. What it will help do, it will help remove any induration that's on your womb, and it will help make the egg stick to the wall. So it will remove any toxins that are stuck up there. That it will help release it. The best thing to do, I say, is steam for 3 months without trying to conceive, which is hard for a lot of women actually. But I would say steam as much as you can, but also continue doing the other things that will help get you pregnant. Change your diet, exercise, watch what you eat. If you need to see an infertility doctor, 100% go see an infertility doctor and do what you need to do. But if you do want to incorporate V-steaming to your whole infertility journey, it's a great addition to it because it will help remove all those toxins and it will make it a little bit easier to get pregnant over
So this
time.
is this is the major question for women who have infertility issues. Now, some I'm going to just be plain with saying this. There are some women out there who are, let's say they're at the age, and we're not age shaming, but you are the ages of 38 to 42 or 45, and you are very interested in getting pregnant. And you know that you do have fibroids, or you do have endometriosis, or you have cervical issues. Tell us the impact of steaming. Now, I know you covered it, but specifically toward these women, we want to speak to them. How can we come together and help support these women in a way, or what can you offer to support these women, because it's such a painful time. And so I know women who are in that stage where they're like, damn, I was focused on my career and now I want to have kids, but yo, it's like late, I'm trying, it's not happening. Like, and I'll say vaginal steam, why don't you vaginal steam? But they don't really want to hear it. So coming from the expert, you tell us, what do you think?
I tell women, if you are trying to have a child and you're doing everything that you can, do you have to lose if you don't give it a try? You never know, right? Um, do your research. I always tell women, because it's such a new thing for a lot of women. My word may not, be enough. I always tell women to research infertility and V-steaming and read for yourself. There's so much stories online that will tell women of how it worked for them, how they've incorporated it in their journey, and it's helped heal them. And there's even womb doctors out there that can like reset your womb, and they do V-steaming on top
What
of
do
it.
you mean
Yeah,
reset your
I don't plan on walking into that whole territory, but I have met a woman who does what I do, and she resets the womb, like she breaks something and she resets it, and like
wild stuff? I don't
it's,
know about all that.
I, it's not for me, but it is for some women who will do whatever it takes to have a baby because they have no choice. And if
But yeah,
reset,
and that's what a lot of women go into. Like I've heard women go back home and say, I'm going to this doctor to rub my belly. And so when they're rubbing their belly, nothing's happening. Like, and I feel sorry for them because they said, well, it's not about rub your belly. It's literally about there's stuff in your cervical wall that you need to collapse, right?
and it's hard for everyone. The hardest part to this journey, but like I tell everybody, what do you have to lose? You know what I mean? And if you don't get anything out of this, you get a clean womb that is toxin free. You know what I mean? So, and what's bad about having a clean womb? So it's hard when it comes to the infertility challenges,
Yeah.
but I tell women, incorporate it into your journey and see what happens, because it has helped a lot of women that I have helped, I've helped a handful of women that have said, hey, I steamed and now I'm pregnant. Some women didn't even want to get pregnant and they got pregnant. You
But
know
you've
what I
heard
mean?
of miracle stories, right? When women are at that. Well, I mean, you told me your miracle story the first time we met,
Yeah.
so that's dope. Um, and just really quickly, menopause. Women who are dealing with menopause. I really don't know much about that area. So, is there any way you can quickly give us a little info about women dealing with menopause and how they can pivot? Yeah.
I've had a few women that have had menopause that have come to me, but they more so come to me just to kind of deal with the symptoms of it. So, because we never really touched on, or I never touched on it, I should say, but when women sit over the steamer, they think that stuff falls out, and nothing falls out of your vagina after you're done bee steaming. It comes through your natural monthly menstrual cycle, so you'll flush it out every single month. So with the women that have menopause, because they don't have periods anymore, it's more so just kind of to freshen up or to help. Like I have herbs that will help with like the hot flashes and the symptoms of it, more so than flushing out toxins in their room.
Because these women out there don't want to say they're going through menopause. So
And they
but
are.
ladies, like we want you to come on here and give us a game. Like we don't mind bringing you on a three-way call just to give us the real deal on menopause because I mean
100%.
you never know till you experience it.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm in the life stage of wanting to have a baby or procreate, and you're in the life stage of being a mother. But we want to learn more. Obviously, we want to share as much as we can. Now, very quickly, we're going to wrap this up. So I'm going to cut out this part. So I'm going to close it up. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Do you have anything else you want to ask? Oh, okay. No, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to say
Yeah,
it.
yeah, no, it's been good.
So thank you so much, Desiree, for your time today. Now, before we end, I just wanted to say that I don't know if anyone knows this, but for women, your womb is the seat of your soul. So what happens in your womb is sometimes we see a bigger gut. I've dealt with it. A lot of women have dealt with it. They call it fupa. It's right above your nanny, and it's just this little gut area. And you see sometimes a little bit bigger than others, and we'll say, oh, it's because I had too much carbs. No, it's because you store trauma in your womb. So what happens is throughout our entire life, we deal with trauma. We deal with a bad breakup. We deal with the death of a parent. We deal with pain throughout our entire life. And so what happens with, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what happens is we store that trauma in our womb and it binds. So like I mentioned earlier, the womb, the two chakras that govern that womb area is the root chakra and the sacral chakra. The root chakra balances the actual womb itself, but the sacral chakra right above it balances the second part of having a womb, and that is your sexuality. So because those are interconnected and because your womb does store trauma, part of vaginal steaming is it helps break down those traumas, break down those pains. If you're holding on to being abandoned as a child, if you're holding on to that bad breakup, that boyfriend who left you brokenhearted, these are things that you can do to help repair your soul. This channel is about rebuilding healthy homes, right? So Desiree was with us today, and she was talking all about how as a woman we can be the matriarch of our family or be the head of the household and carry ourselves in the best way by giving the best energy to our house, right? So thank you so much, Desiree, for your time. I really appreciate you. Give us some closing gems.
Ladies, take care of your vagina. That's eat right, and you are what you eat. So when women have certain issues, you could fix it. Drink lots of water, keep yourself hydrated. There's things that you could do without even V-steaming to keep your, stuff going. Eat a lot of foods, berries. Follow me on Instagram. I post tips, tricks, things like that. I have Tip Tuesdays where I give you tips and things like that of what you can do, what you can eat, different things. And yeah, um, take care of yourself inside and out. It's as important as we are on the outside and we care about the outsides. Like I said, we forget about the insides, our chakras, even all of those things. Like we tend to kind of shove them to the side because we don't see our insides. We
Yeah.
see our outside, so we care more about it, but then we forget about our insides. And that's the most important part. If we don't take care of our insides, we're nothing on the outside. That's what
And then our trauma packs up, and then we're jacked up, and we're offloading our trauma onto the next person. So let's just
and
deal
then
with
you
our
have
trauma
those
now. Yeah.
soul switching experiences. You're putting your trauma onto someone else, so
And
it's
then they go and put their trauma onto
there you
someone else.
go. It's
And if
like
they're
a
in the mix of
cycle.
you with a couple other gals, then they have
See
that
what
trauma too.
happens?
So
Gotta
thank
keep it
you.
clean. No
Thank you,
problem.
Desiree.